I think the key place where we have some difference is in our political postures, or maybe just our political intuitions. And I'm wondering if it's connected to what you said about your sacred values. And the first two, which were the protection of the vulnerable and then order and hierarchy. And so the key thing I'd love you to try and help me understand, and I really need to know this is, it's not adversarial. I really want to understand.
That's fine. Yeah.
I'm curious. Is let's narrow it down to. And I was listening to you talking about Andrew Sullivan. I know that you're not planning to vote for Trump in any simple way where you think he's a good guy, but that it's a kind of pragmatic decision. But that's where you're headed politically with him. And then writing about Viktor Orban and his approach to immigration and some of the things going on in Hungary. My political theology is complicated. I don't know what I am. I thought it was a post-liberal, but now I just don't believe you can be able to be post anything. So I'm just an accumulation of everything.
Call Mary Harrington. She'll get you sorted.
Thanks. Yeah, I've spoken to her too. She's so interesting. But I know that one of my key kind of bricks in my political theology is the Quartet of the Vulnerable from Brueggemann. This leitmotif in the Hebrew Bible, the poor, the widow, the orphan, and the alien and the stranger. And so what I react to in both Trump and Orban is a sense that their posture towards the vulnerable, I can't see it as connected to where my faith is coming from. So given we're starting from the same premises, I'd love to just hear more about that bit of your political intuitions, your worldview, how it connects to your faith. That's my question.
I should start out by making clear to your listeners, I am going to vote for Trump, but I'm not doing it with any confidence in Trump. I don't think he's a good man. I think he's a destructive man, but I think he represents lesser destruction than the Democratic Party does. But I write about politics, but I have no faith in politics anymore. I'm much more interested in religion and culture. If you're talking about the vulnerable, I'm presuming you mean immigrants, right? Is that what you're
so
mostly...
of those four, that one that's the alien and the stranger is what I think about in that one, yeah.
Yeah, well, I should preface this too by saying that my kind of conservatism doesn't really jive with mainstream American conservatism, which is more like right-wing liberalism in the sense the free market and all that. My conservatism has always been more European, more Catholic influence, in the sense that I believe the good society is a society that makes, as Peter Maurin said, makes it easy to be good and that serves the family, helping the family get along. And that's the kind of thing the changes I would like to see happen in the Republican Party in the U.S. But about the migrant thing, we can't have an ordered community if we can't control who comes in to that community. Here in Budapest, Hungary is often criticized for having a very strict anti-migrant policy. But we get people coming here to Budapest from the UK and Western Europe who walk around and they're like, this feels like Europe used to be. You don't have the crime that has accompanied so much migration. And there's a sense of order here that doesn't require police on every street corner. You don't see police often at all here. But there's just this unspoken sense of order that, because the people here share so much in common. Now, I do believe that as Christians, a government has a duty of care to help those who are suffering. The people coming out of the Middle East, for example, in 2015, they had a right to our help, but that doesn't mean they have a right to come into our country and settle there. I had a visit this summer with an American guy who had been a student in Germany the last 2 years. He said, it's so striking here in Budapest to see women walking alone in the street, even late at night, and they're safe. He said, that doesn't happen in Germany. And I said, why doesn't it? Well, migration. And a lot of these men come from cultures that are very aggressive towards women. Well, who is the vulnerable in this case? Aren't women vulnerable? The women who actually live there? That's where I come from. I don't believe at all in cruelty to migrants, but I don't believe that we should be so open to migrants that we neglect to protect the people who are actually our neighbors today. That's where that comes from. But the demonization of migrants as, subhuman, of course, that's evil, and I would never support that.